Hi, everybody. This is Amanda. I wanted to take you on a tour through something that I'm going to call the Quarterly Hub Report. Now, I was going to create this monthly, but it actually took me way too much time. And honestly, for trend analysis, 1 month isn't really enough time to see a lot of change or to track any trends. So this is a report that I'm going to actually do on a quarterly basis. Now, I've been tracking the hubs for a very long time, and I started taking detailed information starting back in August. When I was looking at all of the metrics that I was looking at and trying to determine how I would give that information to you guys, how I would provide it to you, and how it would be best used or most useful for you, I realized that I really needed to develop more of a score or a scorecard. So I spent some time really trying to figure out what the best way to do that would be. And I finally have finished it, so I want to roll this out to you guys, but I wanted to show you kind of what this all looks like. So here's my big old spreadsheet, and you can see here I've got macro hubs, large, and you've seen a variation of this as well. I have the printable hubs and hashtags list, and I also have this on the website as well, where it has the theme tags. Now, I've kind of reduced these columns over here because what I'm looking at here is the HubScore, and I'll show you how I came up with that number. But on this very simple spreadsheet, you can see here I have a score. Here, there's actually 5 different scores that go into the hub score, and how I award points to hubs for meeting certain metrics. So the first one is a score for number of followers. Obviously, the largest hubs have hundreds of thousands of followers, so you do get a score for that. FGR is follower growth rate. That's month over month or quarter after quarter, what your growth rate has been. ER is engagement rate. Engagement rate is going to be the likes and comments divided by the number of followers. So we do want to see a high engagement rate if possible. QE is going to be the score for quality engagement. Quality engagement is going to be comments. So I'm looking for comments over number of followers there. And then total engagement, this is going to be, some of the larger hubs, for example, ClickVision, they have, gosh, on a picture they post, they may have 4,000 likes. They may have hundreds of comments. And obviously that just all translates to eyeballs on your picture if it gets featured on that hub. So I do have a score for total engagement. So those are the metrics, and I'll show you how I scored them. And you can see this spreadsheet is in order. It's important, very important. Please don't miss this, and I'm going to emphasize this as well when I post this, and anytime you guys see this, I'm going to emphasize this. You definitely want to take the score, the total hub score, and keep it relative to the size of the hub. So these are the macro hubs, anything over 50,000 followers, and you can see here, Instagood has 856,000. JJ has 624,000 followers. So these are huge macro hubs. So when you're looking at the score, keep it relative to the size of the hub. So then we have here, I'm going to scroll down to the larger hubs. When you're looking at the scores here, you're like, oh, well, 4s and 3s, that's not very good. Again, it's relative. Camera Mama had the top score for the large hubs. So everything is relative. As I scroll down, you're going to notice that the smaller hubs have smaller numbers. Now, that should not deter you from hashtagging those smaller hubs, because your likelihood of getting featured on a smaller hub is a lot greater than on one of those gigantic hubs. So definitely still do tag them, but we just want to know, okay, so for our medium hubs, who do we want to be tagging for our medium hubs? You can see here at the bottom, I don't like to give anybody a 0, but when I did the numbers and when I ran the formulas, Sham of the Perfect didn't have very good engagement at all. Little Bellows, Write You on My Heart. These aren't bad hubs. I'm not saying they're bad hubs. However, they just didn't have very good engagement. So they did not score very well. Whereas Dear Photographer, Little Moments app, which is the Fat Mom Slim, that's her daily project. Let's Click, Lifestyle. So you can see some of them here. A lot of you are familiar with The Sincere Storyteller, which is Megan Luke's. So again, it's all relative to the size of the hub. Our smaller hubs, again, you're going to see really low numbers. I'm not telling you to only hashtag those huge hubs. You probably won't get a lot of features on those large hubs because they are so huge. So you want to have a mix in your main tag list of the small, here's micro hubs, anything less than 2,000 followers. And you can see here very small numbers. Life Well Captured scored a 4, which is a great score for a micro hub. So you want to have a mix in your main tags. Please don't hear me wrong and think that you need to only hashtag these huge hubs. Again, you definitely want a good mix, but I wanted to give you a guide for which main tags to use. So if I'm looking again, let's look at this large hubs. This is anywhere from 10 to 50,000 followers. Our top score here was Camera Mama. We've got Dear Photographer. You can see here a lot of these are very familiar to you. And then if I scroll down and look at kind of at the bottom scores here, even the lowest score here was a 2. But again, are these the hubs that we want to be hashtagging? I think it's good to rotate your hashtag, but just so you know, these hubs down here with lower scores don't get the kind of engagement and number of eyeballs on their posts. If you're featured, for example, then let's say something that scored a little bit higher. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me show you some of how these numbers came to be. So here are my metrics. Now, for each of the sizes, we've got macro, large, medium, small, and micro. I really had to divide the hubs out this way so that the numbers would be meaningful. So you can see here, I ran a lot of statistics here. What I did is I decided to give any hub with over 30,000 followers 3 points, more than 20,000 2, more than 10,000 1 point. You did get a bonus point or bonus points if you were just a gigantic hub, because again, getting featured on a gigantic hub, while very, unlikely because they have so many followers, so many people are tagging to that post. You'd really have to have an outstandingly crazy image to get featured there. But again, that's going to translate to thousands of people seeing that post and potentially following your account as well. So we gave them bonus points here. Follower growth rate, you got a point if your growth rate met these metrics. So if it was greater than 10% for a macro hub, the medium and small hubs, I had to bump that up because their follower growth rate was actually quite high. So again, to make it statistically meaningful, I had to make that change. Follower growth rate, you'd earn 2 points if your hub met this metric. So for example, for a macro hub, a huge hub, they got 1 point if their follower growth rate was over 10%. They got 2 points if it was over 15%. That's how those numbers work. Total engagement, you got 1 point if your total engagement was over 1,000 or averaged over 1,000. Total engagement means likes and comments, but you got 2 points if it was over 2,000 on average. Bonus point, I think only 1 or 2 hubs earned the 2 bonus points for this one. I think ClickVision was one of them. Engagement rate is going to be likes and comments over number of followers. And again, they got 1 point if they met these metrics. So again, for Camera Mama, which is a large hub, if they got over a 2% engagement rate, they earned a point. Quality engagement, those are going to be comments. We're taking the likes out. We just want to look at comments. I parsed it out by the size of the hub, and you earned 1 point if you had a quality engagement percent on average of greater than these numbers. And then you got 2 points if you met these numbers. So again, I'm just going to use Camera Mama because it's an easy one for me to remember. They are a large hub. Um, if they got 1 point if they were over 2% quality engagement, or 2 points for being over 4% quality engagement on average. So these are the metrics I was looking at. So let's look at follower growth rate. This is pretty easy to measure. All I do is I just, when I record the data during a certain month, which I did in August and in November, I just took their number of followers and just ran the math to figure out what their follower growth rate was, which is, let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. I probably can just tap on this. But basically, I created a formula for it, but it's the number of followers changed. So the growth increase, the number increase over their original number. So for November, it would be November followers minus August followers over or divided by August followers, and that gives us our follower growth rate. So you can see here for a macro hub, I sorted it, Let the Kids, Pixel Kids, Click Vision, they were at the top of the list here. Here's Clickin' Moms with the follower growth rate here. Now you can see some hubs are losing followers, and that's denoted by the negative numbers here. So if I scroll down a little bit, here's our, sorry about that, it's a little finicky while the recording is on. Here's our large hubs. Anytime you'll notice an error message, it means that I did not have data from August. So this might be either a newer hub or for whatever reason I was not following them and tracking them back in August. And that's going to happen as new hubs pop up or as I discover new hubs. I'm going to have some incomplete data. You can see in IG.motherhood, that one had a humongous growth rate. Again, I think that was a brand new hub, and so their numbers really skyrocketed. So you can kind of see where people lined up there. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. You can see the micro hubs have huge follower growth rates again because usually these are startups, and so they take off. The Photo Sanctuary, Life Well Captured, went up by tremendous numbers, and you can see here whenever you have that error message, I just don't have data from a few months ago. All right, so let's look at engagement rate. I'm going to attempt to scroll over a little bit here. Now what you can see here is I've got likes 1, comments 1, likes 2, comments 2, and so forth. And I have that for 6 items. And then you can see here, and then you can see my August numbers here as well. Let me show you what I'm actually doing. Okay, so let me show you how this works, how I'm getting these numbers. So the first thing I do, if I was going to calculate the score for Camera Mama, the first thing I would do is throw out the first 6 pictures. Why? Because they're the most recent. So I'm going to just immediately throw out the first 6. So you can see the 3, 6, and then I'm going to start here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to record for picture number 1, likes and comments, the numbers. Picture number 2, likes and comments. 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to only use those 6 images, and this is going to give me an average, which is what I used in my spreadsheet back here. So that's where these numbers are coming from. So this is what's going to give me my average engagement and my engagement rate. So that's what I'm using. Let's see, quality engagement, again, that's simply comments. It's really easy for somebody to double tap to give it a heart. It's really easy for somebody to just tap the heart button to like a photo, but if they take the time to actually comment on a photo, that's very significant to me. So I want to know what kind of quality engagement we have. So you can see here the top, the macro hubs. These are the huge hubs. The best quality engagement rate scores were from Grandma the Day, It's My Week, United Motherhood. So you can see here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Our large hubs, and I apologize, the computer's a little finicky with the recording going. You can see here, this one was surprising to me. Beauty and Lifestyle Mommy magazine had very good comment rates or quality engagement all the way down. Let's see, and you can see here, like for example, let me just scroll up just a little bit because I think it's important to know why I'm scoring things the way they are. If you look at ClickVision gets tons of engagement, but only 0.5% of the people that engage with a post on ClickVision are actually commenting. Most of what they're doing is just liking it. So again, it's significant to keep that in mind. Comments take a lot more effort than just tapping the heart button. So you can see here, Childhood Every Day. This is a newer hub. I haven't been tracking it for a long time. They have a huge quality engagement rate score here. So that's great. I would definitely use that in my hashtag list. It's important to note that the smaller the hub or the fewer the followers, typically the higher the score is going to be here. And so that's why you see with those huge hubs, much lower much lower rates of quality engagement. So that's what quality engagement is. Total engagement, again, I thought it was statistically relevant to make sure that we showed you these numbers. Okay, so here's our total engagement score. And the bonus points, you can see here, Instagood got bonus points because total engagement on any given picture, they're going to have a total engagement average of close to 10,000. So that's amazing. The JJ community, they didn't have great quality engagement. So you can see here, average number of comments is only 29, but average number of likes, which means that someone saw that picture, is about 8,600. So they got one here. Here's another one that got bonus points. That was ClickVision. I think I have shown you all of the major categories and how I score them. So let's go ahead and go back to HubScore by hub size. And again, this is the information that you guys are going to get, but I wanted to give you a little background about the math behind it and why I chose to use those metrics. So hopefully you can see that I've tried to give bigger hubs some cred for being big, but I wanted to make sure that for our smaller hubs that I gave them points, especially for engagement. Quality engagement, engagement rate, all of those things are really important. I just want to make sure you guys know which hashtags you should be using. If we only have 60 hashtags, we definitely want to focus on theme tags. Those are much more likely to get featured, so we definitely want to do theme tags. But then we want our main tag list to be working for us. It doesn't really pay to get featured on a hub that really just doesn't have very much engagement or eyeballs on it. So hopefully this will help you and be a good guide for you when you're creating your hashtag lists.